So you're just going to do this one on YouTube?
I am trying to do it on YouTube. Unfortunately, what's going on right now is it's just showing my black screen on YouTube. So I can see on Zoom the whole meeting, but this is what it looks like from my end that it should be showing, but on YouTube, it's only showing me. So that's a problem. But I mean, I don't think you have any requirement to be on YouTube for the sewer commission anyway.
Okay.
I can record it for Candy, just in case.
So we're just gonna get started.
Yes.
Meeting call to order. Today is Tuesday, November 2nd. It is now 6:05 PM, actually 6:11 PM. Town council meeting in the town council chambers, 1170 Main Street, under sewer commission. Jay, will you lead us in prayer?
I'll read a passage from Dr. Wayne W. Dyer. I'm going to read it. Begin observing your thoughts and notice if you're going in the wrong direction. You can, with conscious effort, make a U-turn with new thoughts. Thank you.
Jay, will you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Sarah, roll call.
Am I doing the sewer?
I
Oh,
don't think there's
I'm
anybody
sorry.
even here. I'm sorry. There's nobody even here from sewer. So you want me to take roll
Yeah, I
call?
don't mind. I just need an agenda. I don't have an agenda for them. Sorry.
Yeah, wait a
And
minute.
Mark's texting me from Florida, so he can see us. Is there an agenda in here, Jeff?
I'll take a roll call.
Council, yeah,
Council Vice President Williamson,
here.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Councilman Lichardi,
Here.
Councilman Bourget, he is absent, and Councilman Goslin is here. Participating communities, Town of Coventry, Town of Situate, City of Cranston, City of Warwick, Town of West Greenwich. Quorum is on record.
Mark so nicely shared if you want me to read the rest for you. Approval of minutes from the previous meeting.
Move approval of the September 21st meeting.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Plant managers report.
Am I on?
You're on.
Yes. All right. Good evening, everybody. This is the operations report for September 2021. Our average daily flow was 5.1 million gallons per day. Our max flow was 15.99 million gallons for the day, and our minimum flow was 2.2 million gallons per day. For CBOD removal, our facility achieved a 97% removal, or 3.1 milligrams per liter. For suspended solids, we had a 97% removal, which is 3 milligrams per liter. For our nitrogen removal, we achieved a 5.3 milligrams per liter, and phosphorus was 0.06 milligrams per liter, all of them below DEM requirements. For sludge, Synagro received 471.8 tons, and none went to the landfill. So there was a total of 471.8 tons that left in September. For our collection system, there were 0 backups in the public line, and there were 3 in the private line, 2 on Wakefield Street and 1 on Spring Street. For odor complaints, there was 9 in total, 5 from a residence on Providence Street, 3 from a residence on Fernwood Drive, and 1 on Walker Street. There were no violations. And for updates for staffing, currently we do have the superintendent position still open, and we have 1 position that is going to be posted internally or for the town for an operator in the next upcoming weeks. And that's all I have for my report.
Any questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jim.
Just a couple, previously we had a mechanic's position open, correct?
Correct. That was a couple months ago, I believe.
So now we're down one position in the superintendents, we're down
Correct.
two positions.
Yes.
And how are you making out with the inventory? That's been on the agenda. Well, that's been a question of mine for, I don't know, the last, year.
Correct. So with inventory, we're going to touch upon it a little bit, I believe, later on as far as the industrial containers. We're looking to purchase those so we can start actually stocking inventory in a storage facility. So we
Do we have
started,
anything on hand of what we have now, though? Like,
we started to purchase a little bit because we anticipated getting these storage containers. So we're starting to buy some spare parts for equipment around the facility, but we haven't bought, we haven't put a lot of time and effort into it because we need a place to store it first before we can start building up our stock.
but do we have an inventory now, though? Like, do we have stock now? Like any stock at all?
I would say minimal at best.
Do we know what we have, though, of that minimal? That's what I'm.
Some yes, some no. And that's the tough part because once we get these containers installed and we put shelving up, we can start an asset management program where we can start labeling where items belong and we can keep a better inventory of what we have versus what we need.
All right. And how are we with the private pump stations? Are we in the same spot or?
It's an ongoing process. We're developing those information, putting them together in a package. It's taking some time with some of the COVID restrictions. We're kind of limited, but we're getting there. We're not as fast as I promised earlier, but we're getting there.
Okay.
We have billed some though, have we not?
Yes, we have.
Right.
We have built 20, I believe.
Good.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Industrial pretreatment program report.
Good evening. The industrial pretreatment for the month of September. Our significant industrial user, Naramco, submitted their self-monitoring report, and all of their limits were in compliance. We did our annual inspections at Warwick Ice Cream. This company has been in the program since the beginning. Very little changes have been implemented in this facility, but they are in compliance for the most part. Occasionally, their oil and grease, because of the products that they generate ice cream, their oil and grease exceeds the limit. But we've been working with the Mr. Bucci, the owner of the facility, and he's made great strides since the beginning of the pretreatment. During our inspection, we found pH was a little high in the range, and working with Mr. Bucci, we found that the pump was not working correctly, and he ordered the spare parts, and everything was back into operations. With regards to the private treatment facilities, we had a conference call with Sager Environmental. They're been hired by the owners of 1600 Division Street to resolve the ongoing issues with the property. We're also working with Marketplace Center on their private system. With regards to the food services industry, Mexican Grill on Cohasset Avenue was inspected. They did not have any cleaning records, and a copy of the permit was sent to the owner. Silver Crystal Restaurant on Cohasset Avenue in West Warwick was inspected. One grease recovery system was not working. The unit was repaired and brought back into service and re-inspected. The Kiko restaurant was in general compliance. However, the permit had expired and we gave them a new application, and they are now back into compliance. Miss Cranston's on Cohasset Avenue, Quaker Lane in West Warwick could not produce the cleaning slips for the grease facility. The owner was allowed additional time to generate those lists, and by the end of the month, the end of September, we had not received that information. With regards to Ming's on 350 Providence Street, there was no records of the cleaning. One of the grease recovery devices were not operational, and the other grease recovery device was poorly maintained. This is the second notice of violation issued to this facility. As a result, we issued them a notice of violation again asked them to repair the grease recovery and issued them a fine of $100 for their action. With regards to Moss Tavern in Coventry, that was inspected. The grease recovery device was found to be overloaded and the facility did not have any cleaning records. A notice of violation was issued to this facility. The 943 Main Street was found to be closed, as well as Bonehead Wings Bar on Washington Street. They are also found to be closed, permanently closed. We found that Maddos's Bakeries had changed ownership and working with the new owners had given them the application for pretreatment. Renewal applications were submitted for the backyard barbecue in Coventry. New connections were made at Sandy Motors on Sandy Bottom Road in Coventry. Plan reviews, at 37 Washington Street. This was the strip mall. We're all familiar with this application and now converting to a medical facilities. This prior to our meeting with them. So this is kind of a month late and after. But at the time, the plans were not approved. But we've been working with them to resolve the issues and we hope to have everything approved by the end of, well, I guess, November now that we're in November. Plans were reviewed for the Tradesman's Park. They're off of James P. Murphy Highway. These are 3 buildings that they're going to convert into 26 units, where it's really for construction storage, construction equipment, construction storage. So we found the plans to be in compliance and we issued them a letter of approval. With regards to Thunder Mist on Washington Street, the plans were not complete. The floor plans were not complete. We've worked with their engineer and once a dentist's office, because that's part of the dental complex, once that's completed, they will resubmit. We're also working with Ripple's Swim School. They're on Legris Avenue. They submitted plans to replace their existing pump. That wasn't approved, then we sent them back comments on their plan. With regards to other services, West Warwick Dunkin' Donuts on West Warwick Avenue, they're remodeling and they're putting a new grease recovery device in. Program did our final, we went to do our final inspection at the Anthony Fire Station in Coventry. But when we went there, the contractor was not present, so we could not complete the inspections. And finally, the property located at 71 Tyoke Avenue. It's a beauty salon, which we found to be operational without a pretreatment permit. So we're working with the business owner and asking them to submit the plans. And finally, the Centerville Mill, the Rhode Island vinyl and the photographic studio has been approved and all set. That's all I have.
That's all. Any questions for Jim?
I have a question in general. And a constituent called me that owns a business in town. How often does the big grease trap, like what do you call, like the ones that are
The underground,
Yeah, so how often is it 60 or is it 90 days? Because they've received conflicting
it depends.
recommendations.
We tried to do it quarterly. But it depends on if they've have extensive grease problems, then we kind of consolidate
So is that
that.
based on the size of the trap
Well,
or is it?
No, the size of the trap is a minimum for 1,500 gallons and it's 15 gallons per seat. So if depending on the minimum size, and if a facility has constant grease problems and extensive grease buildup, we may ask them to do it more frequently
Okay.
until we get a better handle on their grease production, and then we extend it out. It kind of works.
But I don't want to name the business, but I just wanted to clear it up because they were told 60 with they'd be in violation. So I just want to make sure that just in general, if somebody asked me, I wanted to be able to give them the correct
It
answer.
really varies from facility to facility, depending on the production of grease and if it's a grease
Okay.
producer.
And that's the one that I spoke to you about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll clarify that with them.
Any questions for Jim? Other questions? Thank you, Jim. Are we given a Director of Administration report? Are you gonna?
All right, financial update. Year-to-date operating and debt expenses for fiscal year 2022 as of September 30th totaled $4,010,835, which is 42% of the annual budget. Fiscal year 2022 sewer usage collections through September 30th totaled $2,861,785, which is 43% of the total billed. Of the total collected, $20,492 represents interest. Fiscal year 2022 sewer assessment collections through September 30th totaled $146,894, which is 63% of the total billed. Of the total collected, $571 represents interest. Cash and investments through September 30th totaled $3,239,096.
Any questions for Jeff? Just one quick one on this one is this position. I know this, for the record, Christine has left the state of Rhode Island. She moved to Florida. So, and I think she's working with us for the next 30 days for a transitional period. So, but if she's watching, Christine, good luck in your endeavors. I didn't get to say goodbye, but, and is this position posted?
No, so we plan to have her working for at least 60 days
Oh, 60.
through the end of the year. So we'll probably be posting the position. My assumption would be later on this month.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Resolutions, purchase of new town vehicle.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, discussion. Just the one that was on the agenda last time.
It did come before us the last time, and at the sewer subcommittee meeting, we had further discussion, and I don't know if you would like to talk about that.
Sure. So I believe we budgeted for 35,000 in the capital budget. The price right now is just over 29,000. And we sold 3 vehicles this year, which totaled about $17,900. So that the cost to us is around, $11,100, something like that. So I think it's a good deal for a new vehicle based upon what we sold and what we're looking to get.
Some of the current concerns at the last meeting had to do with the fact that it looked as though we were in a deficit position for the previous fiscal year. And that is not the case. And I'm not sure if you're prepared to talk about that, Kristen, but my understanding is what happened is we had different projects that we did that we moved up because we had to into the previous fiscal year. However, the funds associated with that did not get moved. Again.
I chatted with Bob Savetti today, who works with Christine on the,
Yes.
so on a budgetary basis, for fiscal year 21, the sewer department did come in at about a $200,000 deficit. There were some lines indicated project, centrifuge project that was in the budget for 700,000 came in at 794. Sludge removal budgeted at 555,000 came in at 711. Chemicals budgeted at 470 came in at 548. So there were some, operating expenses that did come in over more than they anticipated. I believe that contributed to that.
Operating or capital or both?
Well, I would say sludge removal is operating, right?
But the centrifuge would be a capital item.
Centrifuge is
Is it-
capital.
And that, and
absolutely.
how much was that?
The centrifuge,
Overage was
94,000 on the 94,815. And then he did, there were some other capital expenses too that came over a little bit.
And
So
what would typically happen now? So would we hit the capital account with those, or will we leave it as is? In other words, transfer it. So you're saying we're in a deficit position?
for the sewer enterprise fund. So they have their own net position. They have their own fund balance, basically.
Correct?
So it would lessen their net position,
Okay.
the 200,000.
Because I thought the conversation at the sewer subcommittee that would not be the case, that there was more money that Christine's not here, unfortunately, to have that
So, I mean,
conversation.
if there was money that is in 22 that would have contributed to 21,
Yes,
that would, if that's not going to get spent now in 22, that will replenish
correct.
the 22 ending fund balance.
So if we're,
Yep.
so at the end of 22, if we're 200,000 positive, then whatever we are in the fund balance will increase by 200,000 to make us where we were prior to this year.
Correct, if that's what happens, yes.
But one of the things the commission did with the overage, like for example, on the centrifuge, because I thought it was a little more than that,
Me
but
too.
the overage was that they all agreed to take it out of the reserve. So I'm not an accountant, so but it went from the reserve to overexpending and taking it out of the reserve. Does that make that a deficit when you're physically knowing that you're spending capital that you've agreed to overspend because of the project having to be completed? You probably have half of that, or if not more, in capital, which in authorizing to award the contract or the change order, it moved from reserve to the line item. So in the past, when that's done, it was never considered a deficit. The operating cost, overtime and everything else is a deficit because that's a physical expenditure. But you're taking reserve money on a capital project and moving it from reserve to the capital project. That's why you have that reserve fund. So I'm not the accountant. I don't make those above my pay grade, but in general, from a personal standpoint, where we've been budgeting the treatment plant and capital expenditures, if we come to the commission and say we're over budget, the commission asks, well, where are you going to get the money? You say, can we transfer from X to Y to make us whole? And that's what happened with at least half. I can't speak to everything because I don't know the numbers. But that's how the capital was done. I don't.
That was my understanding for the centrifuge project, at least, at a minimum.
Yes.
Yes.
I see that they have a reserve for capital of 975 for June 30th, 2021. I have to go back and see what it was, June 30th,
Okay.
2020, to see if it was reduced.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Thank you. Because this came back up, it was discussed in the sewer subcommittee. Jeff did point out that they have sold 3 vehicles, that the net cost here is $11,000. It seems reasonable to me, but
Any questions on the vehicle?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Purchase of industrial storage containers.
All right, so what we're talking about earlier, we're
I
purchasing.
need a motion to
Oh, I'm sorry.
have a motion.
motion to approve.
Second.
All right, now you can go.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So we're buying 2 storage containers. I think the total is around $16,600. We budgeted for $20,000. So we're coming in a little less than what we expected. And like we were talking about, Councilman Licciardi, we're going to see about getting some shelving in there. We're going to start stocking stuff and starting to keep track of what we have. So we're not searching for stuff. We don't know what we have, what we don't have. We're going to get better organization for the future.
Any question on the containers?
I'm all for the containers. I understand that. I just don't understand the whole inventory process. We have a minimal inventory down there. We've had a minimal inventory down there. We don't know what we have. So if we know, all right, we need something, we need to go out and purchase this in order to run today.
Mhm.
We don't know what we have yet. It's still, we could have the part down there. We could not have the part down there. I don't know why we haven't had this in place though. I don't feel we need a container to know what inventory that we have. That's my issue. And I brought it up a while before. And we did not have a full staff. Going back, I don't know, over a year ago, we
Well, over a
were
year
kept
ago.
down. We were down staff. So I let it go and let it go. But now we're at a full staff. I mean, to me, it's simple. I'm not expecting you to go in there and look at the parts, but we have people in positions to assign them to say, we need the inventory done by next week. That's it. To me, it's a simple thing. So I don't understand what,
I believe that deficiency was identified early on during the study and was recognized that we needed to do something about it. And step number 1 was to get the proper facilities to store it. And once that is set up, then with that, you can now move all your assets to that facility, entering them in the computerized system at the same time. So you know where they are and what exactly you have. And you have to start somewhere. It's been deficient forever, but we need to do a good job now. So the storage facility is step one, entering it into moving it, entering it into the appropriate asset management system, and then carrying forward, setting your par levels, ordering what you need, and the proper forecasting moving forward.
But what are we talking about inventory? Like, what are we talking, like, what items are we talking about? Because there's shelving down there. We took a tour.
Yep, like pipe fittings, pipes, motors, pumps, things of that nature.
Big items, are they like size of a red box or size of?
Oh, they'll vary. You know, if you got a 20-foot length of pipe versus, you know, sometimes your fittings are, you know, 1.5 inch pipe that's really small. So it's going to vary in size.
So we know where all this stuff is. All
We
these
don't have a
items.
lot of this stuff now. We have the space that we have, I would say, is about a 12 by 12 area. And a lot of stuff's just cluttered around. That's why once we can get these containers, then we can start organizing, okay, let's take it off the shelf and figure out where this belongs, and start keeping track of where it is now. So we can just go in the computer system, the asset management program, and say, okay, we know where this is stored. Let's see if we have any on the shelf or if we need to order some.
Okay.
Any other questions on the containers? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Headworks boiler repair.
Motion,
Move the resolution.
Second.
moving second. Jeff?
All right, so I know, I think last month we talked about buying a new boiler because one was old and needed to be replaced. This one, we did cost analysis, seeing, you know, should we repair it, replace it? It looks like it's gonna be cheaper to repair it. It was, so we budgeted for 80,000 for the year for the two boilers. We spent 43,000 buying a new boiler. We're spending about 16,000 repairing the other boiler. So in total, the 80,000 budget, we're spending about 59,000 for the two repair, or for the repair and the replacement.
When you say repair, are you getting a guarantee, like, you're getting a warranty on it of how this is gonna last, how long it's gonna last, or? Would it be better to spend the money and buy a brand new boiler, even though it's more money? So I'm trying to ask.
So just looking at it from my point of view is that we paid 43,000 to buy a new one. This only costs 16,000 to repair it. Me, rule of thumb is about, if it's 50% or more, see about replacing. If it's less than 50%, see about repairing. So that's where I'm at with the 16,000, saying I think it's best right now to repair the broken boiler.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jeff? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Consent agenda approval and or acknowledgement of prior draft subcommittee minutes, industrial pretreatment reports, and other sewer related correspondence. Consent agenda resolution.
Move the consent agenda.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Public comment for sewer. Hearing none,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
5-minute recess. Thank you. Have a nice